Hey guys, in today's video you will meet Quentin Falcon, a man who was clinically dead for 1 hour and 45 minutes and had a direct encounter with Jesus in heaven. What he revealed about true paradise will leave you speechless. So leave a like, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell and comment here from which city you are watching. Let's go on this surprising journey together. I clearly remember a day that, at first glance, seemed like just another day in Seattle's hectic routine. I woke up early with the soft glow of dawn infiltrating through the cracks in the curtains, while the distant sound of trains and the murmur of the city awakened in me the certainty that another day was coming. Arriving at the probation department office, I felt the familiar energy of the place filled with determination and hope, where each hallway held stories of transformation. As soon as I walked through the door, I found Rebecca, who was already immersed in a lively conversation with Marcus. Rebecca, with her warm smile and attentive gaze, commented, "Quentin, the air seems charged with possibilities today, doesn't it?" Marcus, with his calm voice, replied, "The energy of each person here makes a difference. We have young people who need our strength and our care." These words echoed in me as I walked through the halls where every room and every face revealed a silent commitment to the mission of rewriting destinies. During a coffee break, I sat with a group of colleagues in a small common area. As the hot steam from the coffee mixed with the welcoming atmosphere, I heard stories of small triumphs and challenges overcome, which reinforced my conviction that the work we did there had a profound impact on the lives of those who needed it most. I felt at that moment that everyday life was woven together with simple and, at the same time, extraordinary moments. Every smile, every word of encouragement was a reminder that, even in the midst of daily struggles, there was beauty and redemption in persistence. Conversations flowed naturally without rushing, as the daylight intensified and the city outside continued its unwavering rhythm. The feeling of belonging and the certainty that each gesture made a difference filled my heart with gratitude and purpose. This human connection, this flame that kept hope alive, was what drove each of us to continue, even in the face of the most arduous challenges. The morning of May 5th, 2006 dawned with a strange feeling. I got up, but something inside me was already warning me that it wouldn't be an ordinary day. When I felt that sharp pain in my side, a familiar discomfort, but much more intense than before, I knew something was wrong. The pain grew with every beat of my heart, invading my every thought and making it impossible to ignore its presence. As I walked with difficulty to the bathroom, the intensity of the pain forced me to stop. This is not normal, I thought, with anguish mixed with an inexplicable fear. My mind began to recall past episodes, but I had never experienced such devastating pain. Breathing became labored, and reality seemed to turn into a blur of sharp, confusing sensations. I then decided to seek help and with effort called an ambulance. On the way to the hospital, between groans of discomfort, I managed to mutter to the paramedic, "I think it's a rock, but this is much worse." He, with a concerned look and a calm voice, tried to reassure me, saying that we were on our way to a place where I would receive the necessary care. However, each minute seemed to drag on, and the pain was a brutal reminder that something very serious was happening. Upon arriving at the emergency room, the frantic environment and bright lights only increased my feeling of helplessness. I was taken to the emergency room where professionals quickly assessed my condition. "Your case is delicate, sir. We need to do tests immediately," said a doctor with the seriousness that the situation demanded. As I waited, sitting in a hard, plastic chair, the pain didn't let me focus on anything else. Every minute seemed to mark an eternity, and uncertainty mixed with the silent terror of realizing that my body was fighting something far beyond what I imagined. It was at that moment, in that cold and impersonal corridor, that the pain stopped being just physical and became a harbinger of a radical change. I knew deep down that that agony would be the first step towards something that could never be forgotten. As soon as I was admitted, the cold environment and sterile lights of the operating room seemed to portend something dark. As they prepared me for surgery, the tension in the air was palpable, and the murmur of professionals mixed with a silence that carried an inexplicable weight. Dr. Morgan, with a serious expression and controlled voice, said, "Mr. Falcon, we must act quickly. The surgery to break the stone is delicate, but it is our only recourse to relieve this deadly pressure." His words enveloped me in an ambiguous sense of hope and dread, as if I were about to step through a portal into the unknown. As the anesthetics took effect, everything around me began to distort. Even though my consciousness was receding, fragments of sounds and voices mixed with my perception. The constant noise of equipment, the hurried footsteps of nurses, and the whispers that, amidst the chaos, carried the news that the antibiotics were not having any effect. "It's not working as we expected," I heard a nurse mutter, his shaky voice betraying the seriousness of the situation. Amid this sensory confusion, a silent darkness began to creep in, as if I were on the edge of an abyss. Even in a state of induced unconsciousness, I realized that the real enemy was not just the stone that was blocking the vital flow, but an infection that was spreading stealthily, causing irreversible damage to my organs. The operating room, lit only by monitors that pulsed with frantic data, seemed to reflect the desperate struggle between life and death. Every beat of my heart, however distant, marked the imminent battle against this invisible evil. I felt as if I were floating between two worlds, one where reality still existed, and another where darkness was thickening with every second. This feeling, permeated with a silent terror, foreshadowed a journey that would go far beyond the simple operation, signaling the imminent crossing to a destination that I could never predict. Amid the turbulence of the surgery, I felt my consciousness detach from my body. It was as if in the blink of an eye I had been launched into an unknown space where time seemed to have stopped. I remember hearing a light whisper, almost like a distant song, that enveloped me with an inexplicable serenity. The moment I realized I was no longer confined to my physical form, everything around me transformed into a dance of light and shadow. The feeling was one of absolute freedom, and although my body remained under the care of doctors, my soul seemed to float through an ethereal corridor. As I advanced across this threshold, I could hear fragments of voices. Some called my name, others said words of comfort, and others in a calm tone repeated, "You are not yet in your time." It was as if each beat of the universe marked the rhythm of a new reality that was opening up before me. As I wandered in this state between life and death, I felt a deep peace, an acceptance that I had never experienced before. In the midst of this whirlwind of sensations, I remembered a verse that I always carried in my heart: "Absent from the body, present with the Lord." These words took on a new meaning, as at that very moment I found myself on a journey that defied all earthly explanations. Even without completely understanding what was happening, a soft and distant voice resounded, guiding me not to fear, to accept what would come next. "Quentin, you still have an important role to play here," the voice seemed to say, filled with an unconditional love that dispelled any trace of dread. This message, repeated in echoes that merged with the silence of the space around me, consolidated the certainty that my passage to this other plane was temporary, and that there was a greater purpose awaiting me. I felt like I was about to walk through a door that opened into a world of infinite possibilities, where divine knowledge and love intertwined to reveal the secrets of existence. The feeling of being simultaneously inside and outside my own body was overwhelming, but also filled with a calm that calmed the storm raging inside me. As I walked away from the hospital environment and the cold lights that accompanied the surgery, I found myself in front of a bright opening that seemed like a window to another world. This window was not made of glass or frames, but of pure energy, where intense colors intertwined in a spectacle that defied all logic. As I got closer, I realized that it was not just a portal, but an invitation to dive into a reality where peace reigned absolutely. As I crossed this barrier, I felt as if every cell of my being expanded, taking in the indescribable beauty that lay before me. The sky, a deep blue dotted with sparkling clouds mixed with shades of gold and lilac, creating an atmosphere of enchantment. The trees, with leaves that seemed to whisper ancient secrets, and the flowers that opened like smiles, made up a scene that spoke of life and renewal. It was as if nature itself took turns in a silent ballet, celebrating the reunion of a soul that longed to rediscover its purpose. As I watched, a soft voice emerged from the room, not exactly a speech, but a murmur that was felt deep within my being. "Quentin, here is the essence of what was always promised, a home for those who seek truth and eternal love," it seemed to say. This message, as clear as the brightness of the stars, filled my heart with hope that I had never experienced on Earth. Amidst that celestial landscape, every detail took on a life of its own. The feeling was that the entire universe was conspiring to show that, even in the darkest moments, there is a hidden beauty waiting to be discovered. I felt, for a brief moment, the absence of all pain and anguish replaced by a feeling of belonging and reunion with something greater. It was as if the window showed me not just a parallel world, but the very essence of redemption. As I settled into this realm of light and peace, the atmosphere began to vibrate with a chorus of soft, comforting voices that seemed to come from everywhere at once. I felt my heart accelerate with a mixture of emotion and longing. Suddenly, beloved faces were outlined in the shimmering mist, and among them, the serene figure of Lillian Blackwood, with her deep-set eyes and a smile that exuded wisdom. She moved closer, and her voice, soft and motherly, whispered, "Quentin, you have always been loved. This is a reunion, not a goodbye." Your words, like balm, filled my soul with a sense of security and belonging. Soon after, my grandmother's radiant figure appeared, illuminated by an aura of tenderness and serenity. With tears in her eyes, she said, "My grandson, I have always been with you even in the darkest moments. Now bring with you the love we share so that it may flourish on earth." The intensity of this reunion made my spirit vibrate in a whirlwind of emotions, where the pain of the past mixed with the sweet promise of a future filled with love and renewal. Among the murmurs and whispers, other voices joined the celestial symphony, each bringing memories of times and moments that had shaped my existence. It was as if the universe itself was speaking to me, emphasizing that I would never be alone. Amid this ethereal melody, I heard phrases that echoed the message that had already begun to form within me. "Quentin, the mission entrusted to you is one of love and hope. Carry this light forward, so that others may find the same comfort and redemption." Each word reverberated in my being, guiding me to a new understanding of life and the importance of the bonds that unite souls. The presence of all these loved ones and the intensity of their messages made me understand that the time I spent outside my body was preparation for a greater mission. In an instant, I felt that I was not just witnessing a reunion, but receiving the tools necessary to transform my destiny and that of those who would cross my path. As Jesus' soft voice faded, a new sensation began to settle inside me. It was as if an invisible force was calling me back, gently pulling me into the world I knew. In an instant, the lightness that had enveloped me began to give way to a strange rigidity, and I felt a pressure that indicated a return to my body. The transition was abrupt, almost painful, but filled with a clarity that made me understand that despite all the splendor of what I had experienced, my mission was not yet complete. I vividly remember moments when, as my eyes slowly opened, the reality of the hospital asserted itself forcefully. The noise of the devices, the anxious voices of the doctors, and the presence of the nurses who, with wide eyes, followed each movement, created a scenario of simultaneous urgency and relief. It was at that moment that I realized the strange discrepancy between the state I had experienced and the body that now received me with all its fragility and vulnerability. My chest convulsed, and each beat was a nagging, painful reminder that I had come back from the brink of death. As I tried to understand that sudden return, the words of the health professionals were mixed with a feeling of incompleteness. I was still between two worlds. A nurse, her voice shaking, whispered, "Quentin, you're with us again. You're back." These words, although comforting, carried a weight that made me feel like the journey didn't end there. The mirror beside the bed reflected a man marked by the trials of the night, with eyes that seemed to have held secrets that few could understand. Every gesture, every breath was a reminder that life had given me a second chance, but also that the purpose entrusted to me required me to face the challenges of the world with renewed determination. Even though I was weakened, I felt an inner strength that was ignited by the memory of heavenly faces, whispers of love and divine promises. This return to the body, painful and surprising, was the bridge that united the transcendent experience with tangible reality, preparing me to live and transmit the mission entrusted to me. After this rebirth, each day took on a new color and meaning, as if the world had been painted by a divine palette. I felt that my life had transformed into a constant awakening, where each dawn was an invitation to see the beauty hidden in simple things. During the first days after returning, conversations with friends and colleagues at the hospital became moments of deep reflection. On one such occasion, Marcus commented, his voice thick with emotion, "Quentin, you have changed. It seems as if an inner light now guides your every step." His words, although simple, echoed the truth I felt. The experience had revealed to me a new perspective, where every moment was precious and full of meaning. By interacting with those who have always been around me, I began to value even more the bonds that supported me. Rebecca, with her ever-tender gaze, said to me one morning, "Quentin, it's as if you've seen the world with different eyes, isn't it? This transformation is contagious." These dialogues were not just exchanges of words, but true chords that resonated in my soul, reaffirming the purpose that now pulsed in my heart. Every encounter, every smile, and even every silence took on a new dimension. I saw in the familiar faces the reflection of renewed hope, a flame that had been rekindled by the certainty that death is not the end, but a portal to a new beginning. I began to face everyday challenges with a serenity that previously escaped me, understanding that obstacles were, in fact, opportunities disguised as difficulties. In moments of solitude, when looking at the Seattle sky, I remembered the intensity of that celestial encounter, where divine peace and love intertwined with the exuberant nature of paradise. This memory made me smile and at the same time pushed me to share with everyone around me the message that life, no matter how hard it may be, is a gift full of infinite possibilities. Little by little, I learned that true transformation lies in recognizing the beauty of the present, cultivating gratitude and love in every gesture, every word. This new worldview led me to a path of compassion and dedication, where every moment was transformed into an act of faith and dedication. Today, I carry with me the certainty that every breath is a blessing, and that love, in its purest form, has the power to transform not only my life, but also that of everyone who crosses my path. Each new day after that transcendental experience brought with it a more intense awakening to the beauty that was hidden in the details of life. I felt that the transformation I experienced spread through every gesture, every encounter, and that the mission entrusted to me resonated in every word I spoke. On one of those days, while walking through the streets of Seattle, I noticed the way the sun touched the buildings as if it wanted to draw a path of light for the afflicted hearts. During a break in a cozy cafe, Marcus commented with a look that brimmed with admiration, "Quentin, your presence now is like a beacon that illuminates the hope of those around you." His words echoed within me, reminding me that the journey of transformation is a constant learning process. Upon returning to my familiar environment, the routine took on new colors. Rebecca, always attentive and caring, commented in one of our meetings, "You seem to have discovered the secret of happiness, the one that reveals itself in small things and in simple exchanges of affection." These words touched me deeply, as they reflected the new way I saw the world. Each meeting, each goodbye seemed loaded with a special meaning, as if each smile was a confirmation that life, even full of challenges, was a gift full of opportunities to love and be loved. In the moments of silence, when the city was quiet and the night was present, I allowed myself to delve into the memories of the sky I visited and the celestial faces that accompanied me. I remembered the gentle words of Jesus and the whispers of love that came from my grandmother and Lillian. This memory inspired me to look at life with a grateful heart, realizing that each difficulty had been a stepping stone towards reaching a deeper vision of existence. Even in the face of daily setbacks, I learned to recognize that true transformation lies in cultivating gratitude and seeing the light in places where At first glance, there were only shadows. In a conversation with Ethan, a young man who was now becoming a symbol of renewal, he told me, "Quentin, your story taught me to believe that every ending is in fact a new beginning. I see in you living proof that love can rescue even the darkest moments." These words reminded me that the mission entrusted to me spread not only within me, but was reflected in every life it touched. Today, I carry in my being the certainty that death is not an end, but a portal to rediscover the essence of life. Every breath, every moment, becomes a celebration of divine love, and every relationship, however simple it may be, becomes a link that strengthens the certainty that we are all interconnected by the same vital energy. So, I move forward with a light heart and a soul overflowing with gratitude, willing to spread this light that was entrusted to me, reminding everyone that even in the darkest moments, there is always a new dawn, waiting to be reborn. Each new day revealed itself as a unique opportunity to give new meaning to existence, and the transformation I experienced left indelible marks on me from a new perspective. From this rebirth, I began to see life with eyes that captured every detail: the subtle beauty of the evening, the warmth of conversations around a table, the eloquent silence that is present in the small pauses of everyday life. This new way of seeing the world gave me a feeling of lightness, as if each experience, even the most painful ones, carried within it the seed of profound wisdom. In the mornings when I woke up, I felt such intense gratitude that I almost couldn't contain the tears of emotion. I remembered the moments lived on that other plane, where love and peace were intertwined in a silent dance, and this feeling became the driving force to face each daily challenge. Obstacles that previously seemed insurmountable now revealed themselves as opportunities to cultivate resilience and compassion, transforming each difficulty into a life lesson. Simple conversations with friends and family took on a new dimension. On one of these occasions, while walking through the bright streets of Seattle, a colleague commented, "Quentin, there's something different about you, a peace that radiates and is contagious." These words made me realize that my inner journey was not only a reunion with the divine, but also an opportunity to inspire and uplift those around me. Every gesture, every smile was a manifestation of this new look at existence, a look that saw beauty where there were once shadows, and hope where there was once fear. This new perspective, built from the encounter with the divine and the rescue of the essence of life, consolidated in me the certainty that death is not an end, but an inflection point for a new beginning full of meaning and purpose. Today, I continue with the conviction that each breath is a gift, and that true transformation lies in recognizing the depth of love that permeates all things. If you liked this beautiful spiritual testimony, leave a like, comment on your impressions, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell to watch each new video and help us spread this message to a greater number of people. Until next time.